Beloved soul, take a quiet moment for yourself right now. Breathe slowly and allow your spirit to settle, because this message did not appear before you by accident. Heaven itself guided you here at this exact moment for a reason far deeper than you may fully understand right now. Something is changing around you even now. It may seem silent on the outside. It may look invisible to your natural eyes. But beneath the surface, powerful things are unfolding that your human understanding cannot completely see yet. The angels are saying clearly that what is happening right now carries far more importance than you realize. You did not argue. You did not beg for clarity. You did not send another emotional message trying to explain your heart one last time. Instead, you simply became still. You stopped chasing someone who had become comfortable receiving your energy, your love, your time, and your attention without offering the same effort in return. And beloved, in that quiet but brave decision, something deep and spiritual began moving into place. The person who once believed your presence would always remain available now finds themselves standing inside a silence they never expected to experience. The warmth you gave so freely, the emotional openness you showed so consistently, the comfort of your constant attention, all of it has now been pulled away. And they can feel it. Not through drama, not through conflict, but through absence itself. And absence carries a kind of emotional power that words often cannot reach. Right now, whether you fully see it or not, they are thinking more deeply than before. They are questioning things they once ignored. They are feeling emotions they never expected to face, because for the very first time, they are experiencing life without your constant effort holding everything together between you. And that changes the entire connection in ways they never prepared themselves for. When you stop chasing someone, the shift that follows is not always loud or obvious, but it is very real emotionally, mentally, and spiritually. Before this moment, the connection survived mostly through your energy, your consistency, your willingness to keep showing up, and your emotional availability. All of your effort kept things moving forward. Your messages, your care, your patience, and your understanding created momentum that allowed the relationship to continue even when the balance between you was unequal. Because of your effort, they became emotionally comfortable. They never truly had to stop and decide what they honestly wanted. They never had to fully examine their feelings or take responsibility for their part in the connection. Your energy filled every empty space before they even noticed the emptiness themselves. God created the human heart to seek, to choose, and to pursue what truly matters. But when one person does all the chasing for both people, the other person never develops the depth of commitment that comes through genuine effort and honest action. They were existing inside the relationship while contributing far less than you were. And beloved, a connection carried by only one person is not true partnership. It becomes convenience. The moment you stopped chasing, that entire structure began to shake. Not because you caused conflict or tried to punish them, but because you finally stopped supporting an imbalance that was never meant to continue forever. What once felt stable and predictable to them now feels uncertain. And the human spirit naturally becomes uncomfortable when something meaningful suddenly feels at risk. Proverbs 4:23 reminds us to guard our hearts above all else, because everything in life flows from the heart. Beloved, when you stopped chasing, you finally began protecting your heart instead of abandoning it for someone else's comfort. And in that moment, heaven began revealing truth in ways your words never could. Truth about the relationship, truth about this person, truth about yourself, and truth about what God has been trying to show you all along. Before your silence, their attention toward you was passive. They received your effort without feeling pressure to return it equally. They answered when it suited them. They pulled away whenever they felt distant or uncertain. All the while, they quietly trusted that your energy would eventually return, no matter how far they stepped back. Your consistency became something they depended on without fully appreciating. But now, without your presence constantly reaching toward them, something inside them has shifted. For the first time, they are becoming aware of your absence in ways they never truly noticed your presence before. This is not random. It is part of a deeper spiritual process. God designed the human heart in such a way that people often fail to appreciate what is always available until it disappears. When something remains constant, the mind slowly normalizes it. It moves into the background. Appreciation fades because certainty replaces awareness. But when that constant presence suddenly becomes silent, the soul awakens. Awareness grows stronger. The absence becomes impossible to ignore. Your silence now carries weight. Not because silence is manipulation or a strategy designed to control someone, but because it interrupted the expectations they had formed about you. They expected you to keep reaching out. They expected your care to remain available no matter how little effort they gave back. And when that expectation suddenly went unmet, it created a space inside them that they can no longer easily ignore. Inside that space, questions have begun forming quietly. They may never openly admit it, but internally something is changing. They are replaying conversations in their mind. They are remembering moments they once overlooked. They are wondering whether something inside you has changed or whether something inside themselves is finally beginning to wake up. At first, this is not simply about missing you in the emotional sense. It is about the sudden loss of certainty. And many times God uses broken certainty to awaken hearts that became too comfortable and emotionally asleep. 1 Corinthians 14:33 says that God is not the author of confusion but of peace. The confusion they are now experiencing did not come from heaven. It came from the imbalance they allowed to exist for too long without honesty or correction. But the clarity now beginning to grow through your silence, that is where heaven is moving. Beloved, what is happening right now goes much deeper than most people ever realize. While you were chasing, you were carrying emotional weight that was never meant to belong only to you. You invested more emotionally. You gave more consistently. You cared more openly. And because your effort carried the relationship forward, the imbalance between you stayed hidden for a very long time. Now that your energy has been withdrawn, the imbalance can no longer hide itself. It stands exposed. They are no longer being carried by your effort. The relationship now asks something from them that it never required before. It asks for action. It asks for emotional investment. It asks them to move toward you instead of simply receiving what you freely offered. And beloved, that responsibility feels unfamiliar to them. It feels uncomfortable because they became used to receiving love without needing to consistently return it in equal measure. At a deeper level, this situation touches something important within human nature itself. When someone becomes used to being pursued, that pursuit quietly feeds their sense of importance and control. Your attention became like a mirror reflecting value back to them every day without them needing to truly protect the relationship through effort of their own. But when you stop chasing, that mirror is suddenly removed. This does not necessarily make them feel worthless, but it forces them to question the validation they quietly depended on. They begin wondering whether they misunderstood your value. They begin questioning whether they took something precious for granted. They begin realizing that they may actually lose someone they assumed would always remain available, no matter how little they contributed. Psalm 37:23 says that the steps of a righteous person are directed by the Lord. Beloved, your movement toward silence, toward stillness, toward protecting your peace, those steps were not random. God Himself was guiding you even when you felt confused, exhausted, or emotionally drained from carrying everything alone. For a long time, they felt comfortable because your presence removed the pressure of making a clear decision. As long as you kept reaching out, they never had to honestly confront their own feelings. Your pursuit allowed them to remain emotionally passive while still enjoying the comfort of knowing you cared deeply. But silence changes everything. Silence removes illusion. Silence exposes imbalance. Silence creates reflection. Now they are sitting with thoughts they once ignored. They are facing emotions they buried beneath distractions and emotional distance. Your absence interrupted their emotional comfort, and because of that interruption, awareness is finally beginning to rise inside them. Many people never fully understand the value of what they have until they feel the possibility of losing it. Human nature often overlooks what feels guaranteed while chasing what feels uncertain. But the moment certainty disappears, appreciation suddenly awakens. And this is why your silence has become louder than your words ever were. Your constant effort once made your love appear guaranteed. But your withdrawal has revealed that your presence carried far more importance than they ever admitted to themselves. Now they feel the emptiness where your energy once existed. They notice the silence where your messages once appeared. They notice the emotional distance where your warmth once lived. They notice the absence of the person who always showed up, even when things became difficult. And even if pride prevents them from openly saying it, internally they are beginning to understand what your presence truly meant. Beloved, hear this clearly. Your worth was never measured by how hard you chased someone. Your value was never dependent on convincing another person to choose you. Real love does not require endless pursuit from only one side. Healthy relationships are built through mutual effort, mutual care, and mutual intention. God never created you to lose yourself trying to hold together a relationship someone else refuses to carry equally. Sometimes the holiest thing you can do is become still. Sometimes silence becomes protection. Sometimes stepping back allows truth to finally appear clearly. And while you may feel uncertain now, heaven sees everything your human eyes cannot yet understand. God knows every hidden tear, every silent prayer, every moment you exhausted yourself trying to keep the connection alive. None of it was unseen. None of it was ignored. Your silence is not punishment. Your withdrawal is not cruelty. It is wisdom finally growing where exhaustion once lived. It is self-respect waking up after too long of abandoning yourself for someone else's comfort. And beloved, whether this person eventually rises with honesty and effort, or whether God leads you towards something far greater, one truth remains. By stepping back, you created room for reality to reveal itself completely. No more illusion. No more imbalance hidden beneath constant effort. No more carrying the relationship alone while calling it love. Now the truth can finally be seen clearly, and whatever happens next will no longer survive only because of your chasing. It will reveal what genuinely exists inside their heart. So do not fear the silence. Do not rush to fill the space heaven intentionally created. Do not mistake stillness for failure. God is moving in places your eyes cannot yet see. Hearts are being confronted. Truth is being uncovered. And what is truly meant for you will never require you to abandon yourself just to keep it alive. Remain calm, remain faithful, protect your peace, and trust that what belongs in your life will never need endless chasing in order to stay. He is using your loyalty and your willingness to step back to reveal a truth that your words and your effort alone could never fully uncover. The angels are now guiding you into the deeper meaning of what this message carries. There are 7 powerful ways that God uses your silence, your choice to stop chasing, to uncover the emotional and spiritual truth within any connection. Listen closely because each one is a true gift of discernment from heaven meant to give you more clarity than you once had. The first way is through the exposure of imbalance. When you were always giving, always reaching, and always chasing, the imbalance between you stayed hidden beneath the weight of your constant effort. But now that your energy has been pulled back, the truth of how balanced or unbalanced the connection really was becomes impossible to ignore, not only for you, but for them as well. They begin to realize, maybe for the first time, how little they were truly contributing. How often you were the one reaching out while they stayed in a place of comfort and ease. How much emotional responsibility you were silently carrying alone for so long. This exposure is not meant to hurt either one of you. It is meant to create honesty. And honesty, beloved, is always where real healing and true clarity begin. The second way is through the awakening of deep reflection. Silence brings stillness into someone's life. And in stillness, emotions rise to the surface more clearly than they ever do during the distractions and noise of constant interaction. When they can no longer depend on your energy and your steady presence to fill the space between you, they are forced to sit with their own thoughts. And those thoughts, if they follow them honestly, eventually lead them toward the truth of what they truly feel about you, about the bond that existed, and about themselves. Some of what appears during this process may surprise them deeply. Some of it may even challenge them in ways they never expected. But God uses conviction to create the kind of transformation that comfort and avoidance could never create on their own. The third way is through the test of initiative. Before your silence, you were the one constantly moving the connection forward, always the one trying to close the distance whenever it appeared between you. But now, the responsibility to step forward and take initiative belongs completely to them. And what they choose to do with that responsibility becomes one of the clearest things you will ever witness about their heart. A person who genuinely values what you brought into their life will not allow the silence to continue forever without making some kind of sincere effort. They will reach out, maybe not immediately and maybe not perfectly, but they will move because true feelings eventually create real action once the risk of losing something becomes real enough to feel deeply. The fourth way is through the revealing of emotional and spiritual maturity. Not everyone responds to absence in the same way. And the way someone reacts to your silence reveals the true depth of their emotional and spiritual growth more clearly than almost anything else can. A person who is truly capable of mature and meaningful love will not respond defensively to your withdrawal. They will sit with the discomfort it creates. They will look honestly at their own actions instead of hiding behind pride. They will ask themselves difficult questions and resist the temptation to avoid the answers. But someone who is not emotionally mature will often resist this process completely. They may distance themselves even more to protect their pride. They may convince themselves that the connection was never as important as it actually felt while you were present. They may simply wait for you to return to your old patterns instead of rising to meet the moment with courage and honesty. Their reaction, beloved, becomes one of the clearest signs heaven can send you about whether this person is truly prepared for the kind of love God is calling you toward during this season of your life. The fifth way is through the revealing of their true feelings. Your steady presence may have been supporting emotions in them that were partly fueled by your effort and your constant availability rather than by any deep and independent feeling within them. But your absence removes that outside support completely. And what remains afterward becomes the honest truth of what they genuinely feel for you without your effort holding everything together. If their feelings are real, your absence will cause those emotions to grow stronger. They will begin missing you not just as a comforting routine or familiar presence, but as a unique and irreplaceable person. They will finally recognize what your presence truly added to their life in ways they never slowed down enough to appreciate before. But if their feelings were shallow, if they existed more because of the comfort of your availability than because of real connection, then that truth will also become visible through the silence. And either outcome, beloved, is still a gift. Because truth, even when painful, is always better than a comforting illusion that keeps you trapped in a place you were never meant to stay. The sixth way is through the awakening of spiritual clarity within you. Beloved, this is something the angels want you to hold very close to your spirit. The silence you have chosen is not only affecting them, it is also changing something within you in ways that matter just as deeply. It is creating room for God to speak directly to your spirit without the constant noise of emotional overthinking and endless striving filling every corner of your mind. When you stop pouring all of your energy outward towards someone who is not fully meeting you where you stand, that energy slowly begins returning back to you. And God uses that returning energy to heal what has quietly been drained over time, to sharpen your discernment, and to prepare your heart for what is honestly meant for you. Isaiah 30:15 reminds us that in returning and rest is our salvation, and in quietness and trust is our strength. Your silence is your strength, beloved. It always has been, even in the moments when waiting felt heavy and painful. The seventh way is through the removal of what is not truly covenant. If this person is not genuinely meant for you, if this connection is not truly ordained by God as a lasting covenant between two souls, then your silence will eventually make that truth impossible to deny. Not through arguments or dramatic conflict, but through quiet and natural revelation. What is not meant to stay will slowly fall away beneath the honest weight of your withdrawal. And a closed door, beloved, is never God punishing you for something you did wrong or failed to do. It is God protecting what still lies ahead for you. What leaves your life in order to create space for something greater is not truly loss. It is preparation for the real thing that has not yet arrived.